Hello and welcome to Transformation Tuesday. I'm Amanda-Beth with Amanda-Beth Healing, and we are here to talk about this exhaustion that is just going around for everybody. So let's take a nice deep breath. Yeah, the dogs are going to join me today. Oh goodness. So take a nice deep breath, breathe it all the way in down to your toes. And when you let that breath out, go ahead and let it out with a sigh, with a moan, with a groan. Let that exhaustion come out. So breathe it in and let the sound come out with it. It helps to release that. Everybody that I've been connecting with lately feels this exhaustion, and it's that deep kind of soul tiredness, and it doesn't just need a nap. It needs permission, pause, and reset. And I'm bringing on with me my friend Andy Nam, longevity coach. And I always say this, functional nutritionist and longevity coach. And Andy's feeling the feels too. And just how we need to pause. We need to really feel into what is going on so you can rise up from this burnout, start being yourself, honor your needs, and check into your circle. Is it time for there to be some change in your circle? Just because everybody around you is tired doesn't mean you need to get a new circle. It means they're feeling the same thing. And so that's a level of interconnectedness. I did readings this last weekend in Salem, and that's what I'm seeing with folks is these long lasting things are coming up. We were going through July and into August, and everyone was feeling that crazy energy that goes on with that time of year. Since then, it feels like we've all been trying to catch up, and in that catching up, we've got some of these deeper issues coming in. Would you say that's the way it's felt for you, Andy?
Absolutely. It was funny because, I love working together with you. And usually, I'm sitting in the back end listening in, and, I was reading your text and what are you going to be talking today? And I was like, that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. A little bit exhausted. So I wanted to get on today with you to go with, with your meditation, whatever you're going to be sharing with everyone. But, I think it's true, like we're coming to the end of August already. Like 2025 is more than halfway through. And I got to tell you, I think there's a lot of people, like a lot of my clients, they feel like they need to hustle. It's like, wow, there's so much I wanted to get done, and more than half the year is done already, and they're totally freaking out,
Oh,
So,
and people who look at their, I set goals,
mhm,
but a lot of my goals don't have a firm timeline. I'm not first quarter, second quarter.
yeah.
I'm not that kind of business head. But looking at the things that you wanted to accomplish, and there seems to be for a lot of people I'm talking with, there's like all these obstacles that come up with HVAC systems for people really seems to be the challenge of the month.
Huge right
Um,
now, being so hot everywhere. You need
oh
HVAC. Like
yeah.
in Texas, no HVAC, you'd be dying in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, so what are we doing to get by? And being very careful in how we word those challenges.
Mm,
Looking for the gratitude of, gosh, here I am in a heat wave and I have no air conditioning. What is, it's not, oh, poor me, this is awful. It's like, what's the lesson? Where can I connect? Where is the cooling center? What's the best way to keep my ice water from dripping all over my desk and ruining my papers? You know, what look for those little tiny silver threads of, glimmers of hope in what's the takeaway from it? What's, how are you being heard and understood? And rather than commiserating with your friends,
mhm.
because it's real easy to fall into, well, I got up to 90 in my apartment today. How hot did you get? No, no. Talk about, last night there was a breeze. It was from my fan, but my fan's working, and that's really cool. And if I angle it just right, look at the positives. when we start looking for those positives, we see more. When we look at the negatives of, oh, it's so hot, it's just, it's purgatory here, you're going to get more of it. It's the universe is going to show you how much of that negative you're really going to get. And I know there you can fall into toxic positivity. We're not
Mhm,
saying that we don't have a bad day or we don't
mhm.
have the that's why you take that deep breath, you sigh, you let it go. Um, and so a
You
lot
know,
of
Amanda, I think that is amazing because, like you said, a lot of people think, "Oh, I have to think positive, I have to think positive all the time." And like you said, that may not always work, right? But when you choose to look for the positive in everything that's happening around you, because it's your point of view, right? There's always a lesson learned in whatever's going on. It's like it was funny you talk about the weather because last night I was telling them we haven't gone out for a walk for a while, right? We're in our air conditioned living room, right? And then I look at my watch, and then it's 92. We're not going out for a walk, right? So like I wanted to be outside, but I am, like I was so appreciative that our AC is working and we're comfortable inside,
mhm,
right? But like you said, I think it's there. You don't want to be on positive all the time, right? Because some people say,
no.
"Oh, I'm always manifesting to be positive." That's not going to work for you either, right? At least that's from my understanding when it comes to it.
Well, and so we look at our feelings. And when you
Hmm.
have a feeling, if your feeling is anger, sadness, fear, joy,
Mm,
look at the feeling and ask, why are you having it? A feeling is to be felt and let go.
hmm.
It's not to set your whole day into motion. It's not to impact you so strongly. Yes, you're going to have those strong feelings, but ask why they're there. Why is this showing up? When you have joy, savor that goodness. When you're having sadness, reflect on it.
Hmm.
Why am I feeling sad? And allow yourself to feel the sadness. Because when you stuff those feelings, like I don't have time for this right now, just going to stuff it. When you stuff it, they never come back out the same. They get bigger wrinkles and they get bigger. So if you can really deal with that feeling, that emotion when it comes up and let it flow, you know, the fear, that is for protection, and anger, that generally means one of our boundaries has been crossed. And
Hmm.
so you look at, who are you angry with? What can you do with this anger? Anger is not always bad.
Hmm.
Depends on what you do with it. You know, um,
Agreed.
my house is never cleaner than when I get a whole belly full of anger. But, how do you use it? So how can you feel the feelings and allow them to pass? In Theta, we believe that when you don't allow these feelings to pass, that's when they get stuck in your body.
Hmm.
They get stuck somewhere, they block that life flow of energy, and that's what's causing a lot of the diseases and things that you have. So, to my empaths, we've been absorbing way too much for way too long. Reel back in your energy that's
Hmm.
yours so that you can better control things. Stop feeling everybody else's feelings. Feel your own, strengthen your own energetic container and move forward. Move with it. And we get on to all this head thinking, and I
Correct.
talk about the mind chatter. You've got music going on, you've got, whatever's going on. The logic in the brain does not get you through things. You need to drop into your heart, and speak from your heart where those ooey gooey feelings are. You can't logic your way through this exhaustion.
Hmm. Hmm.
And our negative self-talk is just incredible. Well, if I wouldn't have watched the last 15 minutes of that show, if I wouldn't have been on my phone right before I went to bed, I would have gone to sleep. I would have. Don't should on yourself.
Hmm.
Don't. It happened. It's there. You learned a lesson. Tonight, I'll set an alarm and I'll turn my phone off. I'll do, what are you going to do moving forward? Don't beat yourself up. The past is the past. It's that rear view mirror that's so tiny. It's so tiny. Your past is behind you.
Hmm.
Learn from it and grow and look at this great big beautiful windshield that you have and move forward. So, yeah, don't logic yourself through that. And to remind yourself where your energy is held is in your solar plexus. And so if we're talking about wanting to come from our heart, you put one hand on your heart and one hand on your solar plexus, which is kind of your tummy, just above your belly button. And then really visualize this energy coming into your solar plexus, your energetic container. It's a beautiful golden sunlight, warm energy. And so, if you can visualize calling that energy back into your solar plexus and then feel your heart energy from that. So, bringing that beautiful sunlight energy into your solar plexus, bringing your energetic container in generally about 18 inches. So, within your arm's length, that should be your container. Just bring that in. And now you can fuel your heart center, which is generally considered to be green energy. Fuel that with that yellow. How's that feel, Andy?
Feels good. Feels very centering. I love it.
Yeah. And when we are this exhausted, it can be hard to ground. And so
Mhm.
centering is one of those things we just bring everything back to the center, back to our core so that we can thrive through today. Grounding takes a little bit more and we can't always do it as well in the minute.
Mhm.
But definitely do that. So, and we talk about our circles, you know, as you are looking at things more positively, your circle may change. So decide who's in your energetic space and really fortify that space for those people that can feel your light, that you can feel their light, and they're not just poking sticks at you. You don't need that. We do that to ourselves enough, you know. And what is it? A rising tide rises all boats. So everyone that you can be positive around and giving them those compliments. Hey, like your hairstyle. Those are really cool shoes. Where'd you get that handbag? Those are compliments. You don't need to have a whole 20-minute dissertation when people say those things to you. A nice thank you does. They don't need to know you got on the clearance rack or you spent $10,000 on a handbag. It's none of their business. That's not really what they were doing. They were
Mhm.
paying you a compliment. Accept it. So, if anything's coming up and anyone wants to do a little bit more clearing on the fly, if there's anything we need to address specifically for you, Andy, let me know. We'll definitely get that taken care of. But I wanted to include some downloads that I think will help everybody kind of reset and work through this exhaustion without feeling completely depleted. Um, we carry a lot of guilt with us when we talk about resting, that, it's a sin for me to rest. When I rest, I'm being lazy, I'm being selfish, or I'm unworthy. And so let's remove the obligation to constantly prove your value by being or doing. Um, when we're being and doing and it's at the expense of ourselves because we're not taking care of ourselves, we're out showing the world all that we can do. That's not being productive. And we've moved into a society that values us by what we're doing instead of who we are. And we really need to reclaim who we are and stop putting it out there. So that download would come down to, I know what it feels like to rest with joy and permission. I'm safe to rest. I'm valuable even when I am still. I know how to honor my body's wisdom and timing. And some of these obstacles that we feel, it's really about your divine timing. Yes, you're there to have all of the abundance in the world, but maybe not right now.
Mhm.
So getting in alignment with that. So I'm going to do these downloads individually. So um, if you would like that energetic exchange, you'd say yes out loud. If you're catching us on the replay, the energetics will still be there. So do hashtag replay and then yes in the comments to receive that work. If you'd like that work, just say yes out loud. And we're going to do, this whole concept that resting is a sin and remove that. And of course, the forgiveness that goes with that work. Okay. One of the other things that I find that gets in the way for a lot of folks is that being seen is dangerous, that if you show up fully, you're going to be rejected and judged and punished for being the real you. And that's a whole lot to get over it, because so many of us are concerned about how other people are going to perceive us. And we're not really put here to really complete other people's lives, because if we are not complete, if we have not done the self-care and the things that we need for ourselves, then we can't meet anybody else's needs. So we're going to remove the obligation to stay small in order to stay safe. And this download would be, I know what it's like to be visible and to be safe. You know what it feels like to be seen and celebrated, that I'm worthy of taking up space, and that your light is protected and welcome. If you'd like that work, just say yes.
Yes.
With these downloads, we're also going to create alignment that you have discernment as to when to rely on those, as well as all the forgiveness packages. Okay, that one felt kind of big. Yeah. So many of us who are empaths, we feel everybody else's energy, and as you learn to pull in your energetic container, you're not going to feel the judgment from other people. So really work on keeping that container in that 18-inch radius, like you're in a drum. Um, and when we stop feeling the feels of everyone else, I mean, if someone else is judging me, that's about them. That's not really about me.
Mm.
It's their values in their life that are judging me. It really doesn't have anything to do about me. So keep that in mind. And that's a hard one to digest and to accept sometimes. And that brings us to our next limiting belief, that we're responsible for everybody else's emotions. Well, that if someone's upset, it's my fault, or it's my job to fix it. It's not. It's your job to be true to yourself. So let's remove that obligation to carry other people's pain so they don't have to. It's not ours. Our ticket is for us to take care of us. And once you take care of yourself and you're doing the self-care and you have that positive outlook, and you can be judgment free of yourself and of others, that's the ultimate, that's the absolute ultimate goal for that ascension goal. So the download here would be that I know the difference between compassion and responsibility. I release the need to carry what isn't mine. I know how to love without absorbing, and I'm energetically sovereign. So when we talk about removing the obligations, this doesn't mean that we won't care about other people. We will still care about their feelings, but we're going to have that discernment to know what's ours and what's theirs. And if it's someone else's feelings, it's not really our obligation. We can care and we can empathize, but we don't take on the energy, if that helps there. So if you'd like those, just say yes.
Yes.
Okay. The energetic things that show. I get those muscle flitches. It's real. Um, let's see. I, I think the obligation to be hurting, that we believe that transformation only comes when we struggle. So it's an obligation. Dog needs to stop. It's an obligation to suffer to prove that you've learned your goals, and it's an obligation to suffer to evolve. And that's really not what it's about. We're not obligated to suffer. We're obligated to live our own lives and to be our own main character and to just enjoy those who are around us. And if we don't enjoy their company, then we find other people. It's okay. We don't have to love every person that is in our space. So this download is going to be that I know what it feels like to heal with ease and grace, to release the need for struggle as proof of worth, and allow those miracles to unfold in your life. If you'd like that, just say yes.
Yes.
All right. How did that feel, Andy?
Good.
Yeah. Isn't it's good to know that your power isn't lost. You just need to take a rest, and that resting is sacred. And don't get caught up in what month it is that we're beginning the fourth quarter, or
Right.
take those, we're on a continuum. We create these false deadlines for ourselves, and we create a lot of stress. What happens if you don't complete this by tomorrow? It stays on your to-do list for most of us. So yeah, that's what it's about today. Just being present and taking care of yourself. Because once you take care of yourself and you fill up your own cup, you can then help others. And you can have that care and that joy, and you can help them feel their feelings and appreciate them. So just a reminder, tonight, Chronic Health Collective has Candace McKim, the amazing manifestation coach, interviewing Dawn Almaza, who is a holistic health coach. This is going to be really great. And then Wednesday, Andy and I will get together again for Andy's Fountain of Youth. Exciting news. Chronic Health Collective has a masterclass series coming up in September. So mark your calendars, September 19 and 20. It's a Friday, Saturday. And we have so many amazing guests and panelists. We're going to do it again with a new set of folks on September 26 and 27. So there's 14 coaches on this panel and all of their guests. So mark your calendars, September 19, 20, 26, and 27. Do we have a registration page on that yet, Andy?
It'll be up later on today.
Okay.
We're all going to be sharing it out, because we're finalizing our special guests. There's a couple of mystery guests that we're hoping to get at the last minute, just throwing it out there to manifest, people that can help us help people change, help them improve their lives, right? So, but yeah, so excited. We've been working together with the other Chronic Health Collective coaches for the whole year. And this is our way of celebrating after 1 year being together, is offering what we can help others with a masterclass. So I'm excited. Everything's coming fruition. I think this is going to be so fun and exciting for all of us.
It is. It is. I'm really excited. I know 4 days sounds like a lot, but they're 3-hour chunks of time. They're 3-hour chunks.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll have that schedule out soon, and you can sign up and know what you want to see for sure. I think being able to partake in the whole thing is just going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
Exactly.
So until next week, feel your feelings. If you get hung up or stuck, definitely look me up. We'll work through those. Let me know how I can help you. Or if you've got some functional nutrition, longevity stuff, don't forget to get a hold of Andy.
For sure. It was so exciting today. Thank you, Amanda. I was getting a little bit of exhaustion, with a little bit of overwork myself this morning. And I was thinking, Yeah, this would be a great way to unload some of that. And like I said, I feel lighter already. Thank you today.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, Andy. Appreciate it.
Perfect.